konuklarımız yabancı ve burada çeviri de yok galiba. İngilizce devam edeceğim. Böyle bilingual olacak. Türkçe ve İngilizce. O çerçevede bu forumu yönetmeye çalışacağım. Benim ismim İrfan Önal. Kültür ve Turizm Bakanlığı Tanıtma Genel Müdürüyüm. Bakanlığımız aslında bir çeşit destinasyon yönetimi organizasyonu. Türkiye açısından konuşuyorum. Türkiye'nin destinasyon yönetimi organizasyonu kurumuyuz. Özellikle 1980'li yıllarda başlayan Türkiye'nin macerası tabii 1990'lı ve 2000'li yıllarla gelişti ve bunu Türk özel sektörüyle birlikte Türk kamu yönetimi yani bakanlığımız gerçekleştirdi ve bugünlere getirdi. Destinasyon yönetimi organizasyonunu biz aslında şöyle düşünüyoruz. Tabii hepinizin bildiği bir zincir var. Turizm zincirinde planlama, yatırım, eğitim ve pazarlama. Bu dörtlü zinciri ülkemiz adına bakanlığımız özel sektörümüzle birlikte, özel sektörümüzle işbirliği halinde yönetiyor. Tabii yıllar geçtikçe, ben 30 yılın sürecini ben size çok kısa bir şekilde özetledim. Yıllar geçtikçe milenyumla birlikte yeni teknolojiler, yeni trendler her şeyi kompleks hale getirdi. İşte bu kompleks halini kurduğunuz sistemle ya da kuracağınız sistemle basit bir şekilde insanlara hizmet eder hale getirmeniz gerekiyor. Yani aslında burada bizim odaklandığımız konu basitlik. İnsanlığın geldiği bu kompleks halde, teknolojinin geldiği bu kompleks halde siz destinasyonunuzla ilgili yönetiminizi ya da destinasyonunuzu nasıl yöneteceğiniz ve bunu basit bir şekilde insanlarla nasıl komünike edeceğiniz meselesi ile karşı karşıyasınız. Yani sorunsalınız bu. Bunu çözmeniz gerekiyor. İşte Türkiye'nin de önünde şu anda bugünlerde duran sorun bu. Destinasyon yönetimini Türkiye nasıl yapacak? Geçmişteki 30 yıllık birikimini nasıl evirecek? Nasıl bir sistem kuracak? Nasıl bir yapısal dönüşüme gidecek? Ve bu yapısal dönüşüm çerçevesinde bugünün kompleks dünyasında basit bir şekilde turizmini nasıl yönetecek? Türkiye bunu şu anda bunu yapmaya çalışıyor. Bunun arefesinde. O açıdan bugünkü konuklarımıza baktığımızda onların kurumlarını incelediğimizde ve onların geçmişlerine göz attığımızda aslında iyi bir örnek önümüzde olacaklarını düşünüyorum ben ve bu forumun, bu oturumun hepimiz için zevkli, yararlı olacağını düşünüyorum. O çerçevede 4 konuğumuz bulunuyor. İşte bugünün dünyasında, günümüzün bu kompleks halinde destinasyonlarını nasıl yönettikleri ve insanlara nasıl iletişim sağladıkları turizm anlamında bunun örneklerini göreceğiz. Sırbistan'dan bir konuğumuz var. Burada mı konuğumuz acaba? Onu yöneticimiz onu haber vermedi bana ama şu anda Meksika'dan bir konuğumuz var. Sayın Büyükelçi Frederica BARCENO Coqui kendisini birazdan davet edeceğim. Bir de Almanya'da küçük bir destinasyon ama özelliklerine baktığımız zaman hakikaten çok kültür odaklı, çok naif, şirin bir destinasyon. Bay Alexander Mayrhofer, kendisi de aramızda. Visit Britain'ın başkanı Bay Christopher Rodrigues galiba katılamadı. Bir konuğumuz daha olacaktı. Sırbistan'dan Ulusal Turizm Organizasyonu temsilcisi Bayan Gordana PLAMENEC, o da galiba katılamıyor ama Meksika ve Almanya örneğinde biz bugünkü forumumuzu oturumumuzu gerçekleştirebiliriz diye düşünüyorum. Öncelikle please welcome Her Excellencies to the stage. And also please Alexander Mayrhofer, representative of Thüringer, Tourismus, TTC, yes. It is German, I think, but in English, yes, Thüringer Tourism Office. Yes, please. Please have a seat. Yes, please. Mikrofonumuz var mı arkadaşlar? Yoksa konuklarımız olduğu yerden mi konuşacaklar? Actually, I just gives brief information about Turkey's case. Yes, okay. You heard about it. Miss Ambassador, first of all, please give us some information about your case, your story. I mean, Mexican Tourism Organization and Destination Management.
Of course, it's first of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to have so many people listening to this destination management. As you know, and I want to show you a video when they can send it, Mexico with Turkey is among the 10th largest tourism destinations in the world. So we cover very well all the aspects of what is definition as destination management. We are a privileged touristic destination, and one of the challenges that we have is that our country may offer, as Turkey, too much to the public. So it is difficult to then choose which areas to give a privilege, because we can offer sun and sand tourism, cultural tourism, gastronomy tourism, health tourism, spa, luxury, nature. So that is one of the challenges. And most of Mexico is known by sun and sand, but we are trying to increase other areas. We also have some of the best services and facilities in certain areas as well known in the world as Los Cabos and Riviera Maya, which are some of the nicest areas in tourism developed in the world. We have accessibility basically to the North American market. In 2015, Mexico operated 316 domestic routes and almost 420 international routes. We have a campaign, always a marketing campaign that it's designed jointly by the public and the private sector, and I want to show it just a 1-minute video. It is called now the slogan, Mexico, live it to believe it. İnanmak için gelin ve görün. You will see it in with the Turkish subtitles.
But something changed us forever. We found ourselves in a 17th century paradise. A place where history is ever present. Determined to shock all your senses and challenge your deepest curiosity. I never imagined tasting heaven could be possible. How can you explain giving up words and giving into your soul? Or the experience of swimming in a sacred pool reserved only for the Mayan gods. We can't explain it, we just surrender. Yucatan, live it to believe it.
This is just an example. I can show you almost one video for each one of the 32 states because we are a federal republic. But I want to emphasize that this campaign shows how we manage destinations. The Mexican federal government cooperates with each one of the federal states to choose the places to show. Then this campaign is also innovative because we don't want to tell you what to see, but we want to use some of the travelers that have been in Mexico to tell other travelers how they felt when they went in Mexico. And the campaign has been developed for TV, cinemas, internet, social media, and of course all magazines. How we organize this destination management in Mexico? We have, as in Turkey, a Ministry of Tourism, not with culture and tourism, but only the Ministry of Tourism, which was established in 1974. This ministry coordinates all the different governments at municipality level and at federal level. Also, it coordinates basically all the planning of tourism, the promotion and the support for the suppliers of the tourism industry. Then we have something called Fonatur, which is the National Fund for Tourism. This is a very interesting agency because it's an investment promotion agency in the tourism sector. That means they locate areas in the country and they develop them, providing services, selling land for hotels, this. It is so good that, for example, Cancun exists because Fonatur chose it as a destination. Los Cabos exists because now it was chosen by Fonatur as a destination. The latest place to be chosen by Fonatur is Riviera Nayarita, which is the latest luxury destination in Mexico, and what we call in Spanish Escalera Náutica, that means a maritime ladder in the Gulf of Cortés, which is one of the richest areas of biodiversity in the world. The third element of the destination management organization in Mexico is the Mexico Tourism Board, known in Spanish as CPTM. This is an institution that pays for these marketing campaigns. What does it do, the Mexico Tourism Board? It's basically, its main aim is to make an active and innovative promotion of Mexico to attract more tourists with modern information technologies and new marketing prices. It increases the competitiveness of the tourist destinations of Mexico and looks to improve the quality of goods and services. How it is financed, all these that the Tourism Board does? It is financed by the taxes paid by the tourists that arrive to Mexico. The tourists that arrive to Mexico pay a very small tax and also a hotel tax, and part of it they go to the Tourism Board, and so the financing of these campaigns and of branding Mexico is done through the same revenues of the tourism industry. And in the executive board of this agency, they participate people from the finance ministry to deal with the taxes. Of course, it is headed by the Minister of Tourism. We have representatives from the federal states, not all of them, and we have representatives from the private sector, all the areas linked to the tourism industry. That means hoteliers, people that run airports, etc. So now, if you want to see more about this board, you can go to the webpage www.visitmexico, and then you can see what they do and also the areas that they are promoting now. They are promoting adventure and nature, weddings, World Heritage Cities, culture, entertainment, golf, gastronomy, luxury tourism, the Mayan world, Pueblos Mágicos, which is something that I would like to talk later on, health, and sun and sand. So as you see, we have quite a well-organized destination management organization, but that doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. We have many challenges ahead, and some of them related to the complexity of the world, some of them related to training the people, some of them related to guarantee the sustainability of tourism and the sustainability also of the areas, to preserve the environment, and to make tourism really to contribute to the economic development of small communities and not only to the big companies. I think I will stop at here because I think that it's more than enough information for this question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ambassador. Actually, the Mexico is a beautiful country, in a big country like Turkey, and Mexico's tourism state in the world is very in top 10 actually. So you should be very happy of that. The big country, beautiful country, and also we have one another example from Germany. It's tiny destination, but also beautiful destination. As I look at Thüringer, is it?
Thüringer, yes.
Thüringer. You have many opportunities and many products actually in a very tiny destination. How you manage it and how you create a connection between people and your destination? Please tell about.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the invitation. Yes, that's true. Thüringer is a very small destination with around 10 million overnight stays per year, and it's in the center of Germany. And I want to talk about product development and quality, because we've got the problem with not a lot of money for big marketing campaigns in TV and everywhere. So we have to focus on the quality. And I was very happy to hear this morning about the Mama shelter, where he said he's not giving euro for advertisement. Every euro is going to the product. And that's also very important for us. So we've a lot of beautiful sites. We've got a beautiful landscape where you can go hiking. We've got culture. At Eisenach, at the Wartburg, Martin Luther translated the Bible. The Bauhaus design was found in Weimar, which is also in Thüringer. There's a lot of culture and a lot of nature. How do we focus on the quality of the product? We want that every visitor feels so satisfied and happy that he would recommend the Thüringer at home. So that's a very essential part of our marketing. And we want our service providers to think about what their customers tell on Monday when they are back home, when they meet their families and their co-workers. And we want the service providers to think about that. And we want them to design the customer journey for that Monday, so that on that Monday our guests tell wonderful stories about Thüringer. We want also to convince our service providers that they think product first and marketing second. You know, some hotels and other service providers, they want to print flyers and they want to have cool online web pages. But we tell them, just give the euro to the product. How do we do this? So the Thüringen Tourismus Board, which I work for, we do individual coaching visits. So we visit the small hotels, the small apartments, and we tell them how to develop the product and how to develop the quality. We've got workshops and further education offers in all regions, all over Thüringer. And we do individual marketing support for the top quality service providers. So that they have an aim, the others have an aim to develop their product.
Thank you. Actually, I have a question for both guest speakers. For Mexico, Miss Ambassador, what is your next challenge? I mean, as the destination management organization of Mexico, what is the challenge of Mexican destination organization?
Well, I think we have basically now, and according to the Mexican government, some challenges. I will mention maybe 2 or 3 only to concentrate. One is we are the 10th receiver of tourists in the world, but we don't receive so many income from that. So that means the tourists are not expending enough in Mexico.
What is the balance between the income and the tourist arrivals, actually?
I think we are tourist arrivals 10th. In income, I don't have the exact data in my memory now, but we are not among the 10th.
You are not happy with that?
We are not among the 10th. We will be maybe around 15, 16. One of the reasons is that we have only one overnight stay at the borders, with the American tourism coming from the border. So what we have is some statistics that, for example, tourism that arrive by plane to Mexico spends much more money than the ones who arrive by land. So we want to increase the arrivals of tourism to Mexico by plane, and we need more connectivity, and then with connectivity we have some other challenges. For example, the Mexico City airport is completely saturated. We are just starting to build a new one, so we can hardly receive more flights than the ones that we have now. Second, for example, there are certain areas of tourism in health, in conventions, in meetings, in which the tourism spends much more money than the ones that go, let's say, for nature tourism. So we want to also increase the tourism in areas as convention, meetings, etc. So one big challenge is how to increase the income from tourism.
Yeah.
That is a huge challenge, and I was just hearing to the Dennis Bank presentation, and I think it's the same for Turkey.
Yeah,
or
it's
very
the same
similar.
for Turkey, yeah.
So we want not a better quality tourism, because all the tourism is good, but tourism that can spend more in Mexico. Another challenge is to diversify the origin of tourists to Mexico, because most of it, as you may imagine, come from the US and Canada, which is pretty obvious because it's only 4 hours by plane, because we have sun and sand and this. But also the origin of tourism, the source of tourism is changing very fast. And China is going to have a more important role in the future, and we don't have enough Chinese tourists, for not to say very few. Indian tourists, Turkish tourism. For example, we send about 40,000 to 50,000 Mexicans to Turkey every year as tourists, and we only receive 5,000 Turks. So that means we need to work a lot with markets as Turkey, as United Arab Emirates, as all Middle East and this. And it is not easy. It is not easy because of connectivity, and it is not easy sometimes because we share a 3,000 kilometers border with the US. So the immigration rules of Mexico are very tough. And one of the reasons is that border, because our immigration system is connected to the US and Canada. So that means it's not so easy to decide unilaterally to exempt from visas to certain nationalities. For example, we have visa with Turkey, but you can get a visa free of charge in 2 minutes by internet, and vice versa. So it's almost like there is no visa. But why is useful this? Because everybody who applies to a visa for Mexico, then our system is connected with the US and Canada. So that means if someone is blacklisted in the US and Canada, it will be blacklisted automatically in Mexico. Sometimes we have problems with names, so we clarify this. So those are two big challenges: diversification of source and increasing the revenues from tourism. And the third challenge, and it's related to these pueblos mágicos that I wanted to talk, is how to really integrate the whole of Mexico, the communities that need most economic and sustainable development, to the boom of tourism, so that they can get benefit also from tourism, not only from abroad, but also from local tourism. And that is why the government of Mexico developed this concept called magical towns, or pueblos mágicos. There are now about 100 of them. If they put the presentation, you can see some of the photographs of the magical towns, and this project is basically oriented to work with the local communities and to guarantee that they will receive, can you put the presentation please, that they can receive a constant flow of tourism, and that contribute to their income and to their connectivity to the rest of the world. So, for example, these communities needs to be like 2 hours from the main city, main place. These are some places that you can visit in Mexico. For example, Teotihuacan, which is the pyramids you see here. It's one of the magical towns. It's one of the main areas of archaeological areas of Mexico. This is one of the biggest. These are the big tourism attractions, Chichen Itza, but Palenque, for example, is a magical town. So you can be there, and what we are doing, it's a lot like Thüringer is doing there. We are concentrating on quality, and we are not expending so much on marketing there, but on quality and to guarantee the sustainability of the town, so that they are not overwhelmed and that they really maintain their environmental richness. Tulum is another magical town, and these are the magical towns around the country, 111. This is Chiapa de Corzo at the border with Guatemala. This is Mineral de Angangueo, Michoacán. These towns need to have more than 20,000 people for each town. Coatepec, the main coffee producing region in Mexico. So if you go to Coatepec, you have all the haciendas of coffee as hotels. You have gastronomy, you have wedding, for example, wedding tourism in Coatepec. Mazamitla, Jalisco, El Fuerte, Sinaloa. El Fuerte is famous for the production of tomatoes. You know, tomatoes are original from Mexico. Even though you produce very good tomates, they come from Mexico originally in the 16th century. Turkish cuisine did not have tomatoes before, not Italian, not Spanish. So El Fuerte is famous because of tomatoes. Palizada, Campeche. And so San Cristobal Las Casas, where the Pope is going to be next week, which is the most richest indigenous region in Mexico. Tasco, the famous silver producing in Mexico. So Tequila, it's a town called Tequila, is one of the magical towns. So the government is working very hard on destination management with local municipalities, with federal, with the state government, to guarantee a good development and the preservation of the cultural and environmental richness of these countries. Just to end, I would say that this tourism to magical towns has been bringing 300 million euros each year to the magical towns, which is quite a good amount for these small places that we need to preserve. And also it helps us to keep people in town, not to migrate to the big urban areas. So it has been quite a successful effort, and the 2 efforts that we are going to concentrate from this year until 2018 is the promotion of convention tourism and meeting tourism, and the promotion of gastronomy. Mexican gastronomy is considered an intangible heritage by UNESCO. We were, of course, the land not only of tomatoes, but of maize, corn, cacao, vanilla, avocado. So, but Mexico was so generous, the patents didn't exist in the 16th century, so we gave everything for free to the world. And so now the best vanilla is not produced in Mexico, but in Madagascar. And the tomatoes in Turkey. But what we want to show is to attract tourism and to show how much Mexico has contributed to the world in gastronomy, and to attract people to see and try Mexican gastronomy as one of the fundamental cuisines of the world, not only because of tradition, different cultural traditions, but of their origin, I may say.
Thank you very much. And now maybe we can talk about Thüringer next challenge.
Yes, thank you that I learned about the tomatoes. Thank you. Thank you for that. We've got three challenges. The first challenge is money money. We are looking for investors to invest, especially in the cities, because we have not enough hotel capacity there.
Yeah.
You know that it's quite difficult to attract investors that they leave their money in Thüringer, in Erfurt or in Weimar. So that's a challenge, and we are working together with the Ministry of Economy in Thüringer to do this. The second one is quite like in Mexico. Our main market is Germany, so our guests are coming from the other parts of Germany. And we've got only 6% from guests from foreign countries. From Austria, from Switzerland, and from the Netherlands. So we've just started the initiative to promote Thüringer in other countries, in Great Britain, in Italy, and also in the United States. Because there all the history and the authentic places of Martin Luther are quite interesting for the Protestants there. So that's the second challenge for us. But you know, when you're a small destination with a small budget, it's quite difficult to reach the people in the US market. Yeah. So we have to create stories, interesting stories, to get there. The third challenge is the demographic trend in Europe. So we have to build a product with accessible tourism products. And we started a campaign there, and we provide information for our guests about accessibility in hotels and also in museums and other parts of the touristic chain. So we don't label the hotels. We don't say this is more or less accessible. So we tell the guests how are there stairs, how much places in the entrance, in the lobby. And we tell these details for everybody. So it's not a special group. We tell them these details everybody, because also for a family, when a family is coming to a hotel, it's very important that there is enough space in the entrance. When you have the buggy with the baby and the husband is coming with a luggage. So it's all about comfort and not barrier freedom.
Okay, thank you. Maybe last question for you both. The world is changing, a lot, and the generation is new generation, and they are very internet-oriented generation. How do you react, your destination management organization, to this new changing, and how you create connection with those young generation who is very internet and social media oriented?
Well, our organizations, both the Mexican Tourism Board and the Ministry of Tourism, is working very hard on doing more research on this segment tourism, and working a lot with hotels to cater to a specific segment tourism. And one of these segment tourism, of course, is the young tourism, the young generation. So there are specific hotels in Mexico, particularly in the big resort areas like Los Cabos, Cancun, and Riviera Maya, basically oriented to this young generation, and also very active in internet. And of course, all the government of Mexico is all the time, including the Ministry of Tourism, the embassies, using Twitter, Facebook to do the promotion of Mexico. The other thing is that I would say that the so-called shared economy or sharing economy, Uber and Airbnb in Mexico, is growing very fast. And the young people are using it quite a lot in Mexico, particularly Uber in Mexico City. So I think even if the government tries to control the growing of this, is almost impossible. With a population of 122 million people in Mexico, 2 million square kilometers, such a big border with the US where all this shared economy is really taking place, it would be impossible to control. So what the government is trying to do is work with them and try to understand which is the impact that is having, for example, in the hotel capacity or these, to try to regulate it. There was a big debate, for example, in Mexico City, almost a confrontation between the Uber users and the taxi drivers, and they reached an agreement, and now both can operate. So the government is very conscious, the operators of the destination management are very conscious of these challenges, and we are trying to confront them. But it's not easy. It's not easy. On difference with Thüringer, I don't think Mexico is not even very much aware of the challenge of aging population. Mm-hmm. And we should be, because our main market is the US, and the US population is aging rapidly, not as fast as the European, thanks to the migration, particularly the one coming from Mexico. So, not to listen to Trump.
Thanks to Mexico.
He doesn't know anything, yes. The Americans should be very thankful to Mexico, because thanking to the Mexican migration is not such an old population. And it is a very vibrant one. So, it is really true. So, that is what Mr. Trump never recognizes. But we still don't have that challenge. But of course, the big hotels are also working very much on accessibility. But as you can imagine, to guarantee accessibility for aging population to archaeological areas is not easy. Even for young people, try to climb a pyramid. Climbing is easy. Try to come down. Then you will be terrified because it's very difficult.
Thank you, thank you. How about Alexander? How about the Thüringer case?
Yeah, we are using a lot social media, so we've got over 50,000 active followers on Facebook. And for a small country like us, so we are quite proud of it. And we have to change the products. So we have to we have to bring innovation there, and we have to tell stories. So that's our main aim in the marketing. Tell stories which also go to the heart. And we are sure that this will also bring the younger people and the internet community to Thüringer. But some products are quite difficult. So hiking in the Thuringian forest is not really a very young activity. But we are now trying to work with music. We are now trying to work with special places where you can dance in between, where there is a cool area for younger people. So, and we hope it works.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Miss Ambassador. Thank you, Alexander. The information giving us about your destination and destination management approach. I think we have more two guest speakers just arrived, yes. And I would like to introduce with you, and please come to the stage, and then we can continue. Please. Miss Gordana PLAMENEC from Serbia Tourism Board, and Mr. Christopher Rodrigues, the chairman of Visit Britain. We were just talking about the destination management organizations and the role of destination management organizations in today's world. First of all, please give us information about your destination management approach, and then we can continue. Please. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, and I'm very pleased to be here, and I would like to thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity to address you. The other important thing is that I'm not a CEO of the National Tourism Board of Serbia since the end of November last year, and I tried to advise that. I continue being the chair of the board of the Danube Competency Center, which brings together 10 different countries, and the representatives of both public, private, and civil sector. But anyhow, we just heard from Mr. Barroso this morning that Serbia is among 4 countries, emerging countries, that has presented great results in the past year. And I'm proud to say that during my mandate, we continued with the growth of foreign tourists by 12% and in arrivals, by 9% in foreign income. This is based on the figures of our central bank from foreign tourists. And more importantly, it is in the past 2 years that our domestic tourism started to grow. So we also have the figures of plus 10% in domestic tourism. The National Tourism Organization of Serbia, which was established by tourism law, of Serbia, is not a destination management organization, unfortunately, although we would very much like to be the destination management organization. So far, we are only the promotion agency, like many of the national tourism organizations in Europe. Me as a member of the National Council for Tourism had the working group for destination management, product development, and promotion. I think this is more or less everything. So we are really trying very much to get to the point where we are mature to make or to convert our tourism organization into a real institutional destination management organization. We all know that destination management organization should comprise of private and public sector. Unfortunately, we are still only public, although we try to work and strive very much to do things together with the members of the industry. When also during this morning it was mentioned that 20% of market share goes in favor of U.S. tourism. It was not only because they have entertainment and filming industry, but it is also because they decided maybe 6 years ago already to establish a destination management organization called Brand USA, which was decided by the Congress, which is partly financed by the Congress, meaning the government, but more financed by private sector. And with this very aggressive promotion, they managed to regain the market share. So what else can I say? We are also working in regional initiatives, but this as an added value could be the answer to some of your next questions. In the meantime, I would only like to take the moment to quote a great philosopher, Talmud, who said that the quickest way to achieve your ultimate goal is to change the way of thinking. I think that the way of thinking is actually the most complex thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think the promoting countries or promoting destinations is very challenging in nowadays. So we've seen UK very culture, industry-oriented country, and sometimes very aggressive marketing, tools you use. So could you please tell us about the Visit Britain approach to that issue?
Okay, well, I think I can follow on from Gordana's comments. Two statistics: 35 million visitors, about 100 billion lira in scale.
Yeah.
Both of them have gone up a lot in recent years after the financial crisis, because we had the combination of royal weddings, Queen's Jubilee, royal babies, and the Olympics and the Paralympics. There were 8,500 journalists in London during the Games, not covering the Games. They were not accredited sports journalists, they were covering Britain. And the observation I would make is, in the world in which we compete now, major events are hugely important in showcasing a country. So we have some great news. The volumes are up, the value is up. We can debate this, but we have, if not the best, one of the finest cities in the world. London is a lighthouse. It attracts people from all over the world of all generations. Scotland has a quite clear brand identity. The Highlands, Edinburgh, whiskey, golf. Wales, which is a beautiful part of Britain, has very little international identity. It has a picture of a dragon, but people don't know what Wales stands for. And England, outside of London, has some big tourist destinations, the universities of Oxford and Cambridge, York, Bath, but it's visited much less than London. So the heart of our challenge at the moment, and challenges in marketing and developing destinations, evolve because competition evolves and because consumers evolve. Our challenges at the moment are to get people to go outside of London. Nearly 60% of people who come to Britain only go to London.
Yeah.
So the big opportunity is outside. And although this is not conventional DMO activity, because we are a overarching organization, what we need more than anything else is to get joined up government. And it's a privilege to be on a panel after the Mexicans, because I have known 3 Mexican tourism ministers in a row, and one of the things that has come ever since President Calderon is that President Calderon got all of the people who delivered tourism in a room together and said, this is what we do as a country. And it is very joined up. Interestingly, most tourism ministers are not responsible for the majority of levers that have to be pulled to make tourism effective. Other members of government are. So the ability of a tourism minister and the support of a prime minister or president to get joined up government is absolutely key. Behind all of that, you have to actually get destinations within a country to develop, to understand that competition is great, that consumers know a lot more about competitor offerings than some of the suppliers do. If you are running a small bed and breakfast in Cornwall, your perspective is probably primarily domestic. If you want to develop an attraction to get people to Cornwall, you need to get them to want to go to Cornwall before they will go to the bed and breakfast. And many people in the supply side have a very supply side mindset. Here's my product, if you don't like it, it's your problem. Well, first of all, you have to have a competitive product, and secondly, people have to want to come. So the last point I would make is that for us, the big change, and we may come to this later in digital, but the big change is it is more and more difficult simply to sell a destination by the label. So London works, I think Istanbul as a city works. There are some cities where you can go and just say go because the image in people's minds is strong. But actually most people travel to do things that they enjoy doing, whatever they are passionate about. So the big next step for us, and we've just launched a new campaign behind this, is to identify moments in your life where the experience will be great, and to explain to people that if you are passionate about golf, if you haven't done it in Britain, you haven't done it. If you're passionate about tennis, if you haven't gone to Wimbledon, you haven't done it. If you're passionate about opera, there's opera all over Britain. I could go on, but I won't. So moving from being a destination marketing organization to being experience marketing organizations are, in my view, absolutely central to the next generation of marketing.
Okay, thank you. Gordana, just I'd like to ask a question for you. When I think about the Serbia, I know Serbia very well because we are neighbor and we know each other. But someone in Mexico or in South America, somewhere in South America, how they image the Serbia, you know? Is there any specific image of the country? Yeah.
I'm afraid that the image of our country is still not up to the level of the most attractive place to go. The recent history does not go in favor of the image of our country, but what we have tried to do is to not only be present and enhance our presence at foreign markets, it is also, although it is limited because of the very modest budget, but our online campaigns and our online presence, our video materials, which we are promoting heavily, is something what could bring the attention of the people. Additional thing that helps us a lot are already mentioned regional offer, which we relate to different thematic cultural tours, or we do some kind of projects under the auspices of international organizations, such as OECD, which brings together the countries of the Western Balkans, where we try through cultural tourism to attract tourists. Secondly, through the Danube Initiative, and the Danube Strategy is an important document which was brought by European Commission 5 years ago, and it doesn't cover only tourism or culture, it is also the environment, security, nautical tourism, and so on. We are also using very much different European corridors, such as European corridor, cycling corridor, Eurovelo 6. Then we are also promoting the Iron Curtain Trail for cyclists, going all the way from the northern part of Europe to the southern part of Europe, and so on and so forth. But this regional participation is actually the added value to our promotion. And what I forgot, this is also the initiative of China plus 16 Central and Eastern European countries, China actually initiated this international program, and it is obvious that Chinese market requires really some regional or international tours in Europe in order to make Europe as destination more attractive, not as a whole continent, but segmented by different indicators such as different themes and topics and so on. So this is what we do. It was also important that some of very prominent publishers pronounced Serbia and Belgrade as one of the top 10 destinations last year. That was Lonely Planet and Rough Guides. By the way, I was very proud to see a big billboard on Heathrow indicating all 10 destinations, featuring all 10 destinations, among which was Belgrade and Serbia. And we also managed to present Serbia in Monopoly game, which was also quite challenging for us, because we all know that Monopoly is related mainly to the cities. We all played Monopoly at a certain point of our lives, but now UK, US, Italy, and Serbia are on Monopoly boards. So these are these niche ways. How do we get to be more present at the international market? We had a very good video a few years ago with an interesting concept. It was dedicated, or it is dedicated to gastronomy. It is called Soul Food Serbia, and it won 11 World Awards. I will not talk. I should recommend that you go and see it, but this is an excellent platform to expand it through Europe. And last year, we also produced a film, Danube in Serbia, which 588 impressions, meaning 588 kilometers. And recently I saw the BBC production on Zambezi River, and at the first glance I thought, God, this is Danube, but it was Zambezi Epic Journey. So it gave me the idea that we could really connect different rivers at all continents of our planet Earth. So I should not really miss to mention festivals. One of the festivals especially is Exit Music Festival, which is being held every year in Novi Sad, the second largest city within the ramparts of the medieval castle. And it brings the visitors coming the most are young visitors from UK. And it brings together about 150,000 people every year, young people, and this is like a big, big party, which has been also awarded as the leading music event in Europe. So Belgrade, as a city break destination, is climbing fast on the list of international destinations, and the latest acquisition of our former airline company by Etihad, who founded Air Serbia, is definitely giving much to, or contributes much to our future expectations.
Oh, thank you very much. My last question to you, Christopher. you have very good advantage actually in language. Do you think that English language is helping to you when you are promoting your country? Or sometimes you have some obstacles, you know, to reach the indigenous people in anywhere in the world actually?
I think it does have an advantage, although having spent quite a lot of my career in America, I don't think we speak the same language. And the Australians certainly speak a different form of English. But no, I mean, it is clearly helpful because there are more people who feel they are comfortable exploring. Although the counterfactual there is, if they're so comfortable exploring, why aren't they getting out of London? There's more than, language is good, but it's not enough. I mean, one of the things that I think is changed hugely, if you look at the last half of the 20th century, the big tourism flow was North America to Europe. And soon after the Second World War, planes used to fall out of the sky if they went much further than London. So that was a real advantage. People liked to be able to land, not run out of fuel. And so they changed planes in London. If you look at the emerging flows for this half century, it's Asia and the subcontinent. Mm-hmm. What has changed is who we partner with. So I'll give you an example. Even when I started in tourism, which was nearly 30 years ago, the dominant carriers between Britain and Australia, which is a 1 million customer market for us every year now, the dominant airlines were British Airways and Qantas. Qantas has had its own economic troubles, British Airways has been doing quite well, but there is now one flight a day from Australia on British Airways. There are 3 380s from Emirates out of Sydney alone, and it serves multiple other cities. Etihad is the same, but it's more into Melbourne, that's fine by us. Qatar's heading there. There is more lift on China Southern than there is on British Airways. So what you have to do is move with the times. And so our partnership program, I mean, the biggest change in the 10 years, I'm about to come to the end of my term, but I've been there for nearly 10 years. When I started, we thought that partnership meant going to people and saying, this is what we like to do, would you like to pay for it? This is never really partnership. What you need to do is to go in and say to people, what is it you want to accomplish? We might be able to help you do that. Strangely, that gets you more money. So we've just signed a partnership with Turkish Airlines. I won't detail the commercially sensitive things that they want, but it's interestingly not about building London-Turkey travel. It's not even about building regional travel, although I'm pleased to say they're flying to more of our regional airports. But they have objectives east of Istanbul, and they believe that people east of Istanbul would like to come through Istanbul to London or to Britain. So there is a partnership, just started. One that we did earlier was with, and we have partnerships with Etihad, Emirates, Qatar, and Turkish, which are the 4 big partnerships if you live where we do. Qatar delivers 500,000 people a year to Britain. I tell you, they don't all come from Qatar, they're not all Qatari. So you just have to be a little flexible. When I arrived, people said it's only about partnering with British people. And BA, we still partner with BA, it's our biggest single partner, but it's not our only partner. And you just have to understand where the trends are and see if you can position yourself in this highly competitive world to get there. Last point, if I may. Those who were in the main session will have heard the gentleman from Dolby and previously Sony talking about film tourism, and he kindly mentioned some of our numbers. So let me do Game of Thrones, 50 Years of Bond, Harry Potter, and just about to happen for those who market in the US, Ellen DeGeneres, who runs probably one of the biggest talk shows, is going to come and run the program from Britain for a number of episodes. film tourism is the thing that gets people from thinking about going to saying, you know, I really have to go. And when you think about it from a customer's perspective, what we're trying to do is to take, if an Australian family goes to Britain, it's a choice between buying a new car. If they come for 10 days, it's the cost of a new car. 4 people, 10 days, fly to Britain, it's the cost of a new car. You better have something that they want to do, and they need to believe it. So you need to talk their language, and you need to engage with partners that they think they want to listen to, not just in the social media point that was made earlier, but in a broader context. We have to be part, travel is part of people's dreams. We have to be part of their dream.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Dear guests, I think we had a very good combination, the UK, Serbia, Mexico and Germany. I'd like to say thank you for their good contribution to those forums. Çok teşekkür ediyorum katılımınız için. Umarım çok yararlı, verimli olmuştur sizlere, sizlerin bundan sonra bu konuyla ilgili düşüncelerinize. Thank you very much. Teşekkür ederim.